7. As yes, we are down to 3 teams, and we will know who's going to take cycle number 7 by the end of today. With that said, excited to be here. A little bit of a late start. To apologize for that. I was having a couple of issues on our side. Hopefully things are good to go, though. The point being, though, we are in game number 1 of our first series. We got the Losers Bracket Finals going to be coming at you first. And what is, of course, Willowkeeper going up against Reason Gaming in this best out of 3 here. Reason Gaming, they're coming off their loss yesterday to Sync Esports in the Winter Bracket Finals. So close to even taking the series. But in the end, they fell just short, so that's why they're here. Willowkeeper had to trek through the Losers Bracket Finals, or Losers Bracket, I should say, to get to this point themselves. And this also is a rematch, actually, of what was the Winter Bracket Semifinals earlier on in the cycle. Now, with all that said, rambling on here, obviously, again, coming at you a little bit late, but hey, we're just about done with the draft. Well, before I get too much into that, of course, Minnie Maggot joining me. Minnie, how's it going?
Hey man, yeah, I'm doing good, and I'm looking forward to this game, man. I can't wait to sort of see who's going to face Sync in the grand finals. Yeah,
that's obviously what is determined here. Of course, they will be up 1-0 in the grand finals, as they tend to be throughout this season, coming from the winners bracket. But hey, getting there first, that's what matters. Boy, oh boy, again, we're just about finished with this draft here, so let's take a look and go over both these items. Very interesting things on both sides, actually. We'll start with Tree over here. So Tree, we're looking at Torturous, Swiftblade, Riftwalker, Kraken, and then the Gunblade pickup coming out, and they've done this before. It's very rare, but we get to see Gunblade here. What do you think of the Gunblade pickup?
Yeah, I think Gunblade pickup works incredibly well, particularly against the Dr. Repulsor. Dr. Repulsor was first picked up here from Reason, and we've seen the last couple of series, whether Reason play it or Sync play it, it's been absolutely dominant Breaky. I mean, if there's been one hero just this cycle Breaky, I think the MVP has to be Dr. Repulsor. And Gunblade is one of the strongest counters to Dr. Repulsor, and I mean, Tree have had a lot of history playing it, and I think it can do very, very well, just particularly against this Dr. Repulsor itself.
Definitely. So we'll see how that obviously fares for them. Speaking of Dr. Repulsor over here on Reason's side now, not going to be played by Immo Boy again, so he's not necessarily playing that carry role. Instead, that'll belong to Predator. Predator, their final pick. That is a hero we have not seen in Haunter Season 3, according to Quincy. So another new hero. Here we are, Cycle 7, and yet still new heroes are being chosen. Pretty crazy stuff there. But Predator coming out, what do you think of that? Was that because a reaction pick here, or what's the deal?
Well, I think they needed something that could also have a little bit more carry presence than just the Dr. Repulsor and Deadwood. Like, those kind of heroes, they scale okay into the late game, but compared to what Tree have already picked up, I think they needed something that gives them a bit more oomph in terms of sort of the late game. And the hero does well. I mean, there's quite a lot of magical damage coming out from Tree, and it can really benefit from the Stonehide. But even for heroes like sort of Swiftblade and Kraken, like, normally whenever you get the Venomous Leap, you can sometimes leap before, obviously, the Blade Frenzy starts happening. And once you're on top of Swiftblade, like, you're not really going to let him go, as long as you have enough movement speed. So, yeah, overall, I like the pickup. And with this Predator, like, he doesn't need a lot of help in terms of getting farm either. He can just sort of do his own thing while the rest of his team starts ganking, which I think is going to be the strategy here for Reason. Yeah,
and obviously you have an empath too on the side again. Yeah, very good synergy there as usual with any kind of hard carry, of course. Well, Predator definitely feeds off of that, you know, with his terror ability. Now being that passive even, don't need to worry about activating it, of course. But yeah, the Stonehide really is an interesting tool. And I gotta say, I am a little bit surprised that this is, if we were to see a list, you know, going into this game right here, if heroes that still have not been played, this would probably be the one that really stood out to me the most. I mean, this is a hero that has potential. We've seen it before in previous season, and he's been on the scene, just has not been picked up this season, though. So, Reason Gaming picking it up here in a pretty crucial time, but kind of shows you that even heroes that have not been played, there is purpose for them, as that's what they're going for here at least. So, but yeah, I'm intrigued by this Gunblade pickup again. We've seen it a couple times before. Has apparently not gotten a win yet, unfortunately, but we have seen it do very, very well. As you mentioned, a great counter pickup against something like a Dr. Repulsor. Also just has a lot of burst potential that may throw you off guard. Those crippling slugs can do some pretty good damage, and the fact, you know, he can sit on top of you as a result of that as well. So, got a fun game to kick things off here. Again, the winner going to be moving on to play Sync later today in the grand final. So, all right, how are we laning things here now is the question. Looks like Baltazar and Swiftblade, is he going to end up staying up here? Or he's heading back now with the team, but are they going to aggressive trialing with the Swiftblade? It's possible, I guess.
Yeah, they definitely could, because Gunblade doesn't really need any help in his lane. He can easily hand himself against any kind of suicide, which is most likely going to be Deadwood, because that's what Reason like to run, sort of suicide Deadwood, and Gunblade is a great 1v1 hero. And at the same time, if they run on an aggressive tri-lane as they're doing up here, they can shut down the Predator as well as the Parasite. This ward, I don't think blocks his hard camp, but can still pressure the Parasite. Although the Parasite's actually in the enemy jungle, I don't know if they expect this tri-lane to come out, actually, but...
Yeah, this could be troublesome, actually, for a recent game, and especially with Empath being up here. Now, he's going to go over the counter ward of the pole camp, but as you see, is that actually in range? Yes, it is. It's just barely in range. You can see on the radius right there of the ward of sight. So Empath is going to be able to counter that, and will have access to all the jungle here as a result. But, yeah, this is definitely going to be to the advantage of Tree. I mean, a 3 versus 2, of course, in itself pretty much speaks for itself as far as the numbers are concerned. So, does Parasite need to get back to his own jungle, you think, or is he just going to stay there?
I think Parasite could actually definitely get back into his own jungle, simply because all of the hard camps are open now into the Hellborn side, and particularly with Tree not having any kind of vision, like, they could easily set up ganks if, you know, Parasite gets a good creep. Like, there's a Minotaur already onto this hard camp over here, and he'll definitely have to rotate, because if he doesn't rotate, then this dual lane is going to get absolutely disastrous and just get destroyed, put simply. Whether Parasite wants to sit in his own jungle, I mean, that's fine, but Empath shouldn't be up here then. If that is the case, just leave Predator solo. Because Empath won't do anything up here, really, if they're against a tri-lane.
Yeah, I mean, you do see Empath is going to go for the pole camp, but I guarantee you, as soon as the Legion team realizes this is happening, they're going to come on over. There's not going to be much Empath that's going to be able to do to protect it. So we'll see how the support moves here between Riftwalker and Torture especially, as soon as they realize that the pull did happen. I mean, you see so far they're not picking up on that just yet, but Torture not going to kind of start roaming over. Empath able to actually get a good amount out of this so far, and even Predator's over here now, so a little surprised that the Legion team doesn't really pick up on it quickly. And that means, yeah, the Hellborn actually gets a good amount out of it as a result, so...
I'm surprised Tree didn't even try and block this this pool camp though. But they run this aggressive tri-lane, and unless you shut down this pool camp completely, then like you're going to lose the tri-lane, honestly. Although it's only 2 players here, like Predator's already level 3, Empath's level 2, and it's only the Swift players who's got a second level. Tree are actually losing this aggressive tri-lane quite badly because that this pool camp is still left open. When they placed the wall, it wasn't even to try and block the pool, it was more just vision against Parasite, but Parasite's not even in this jungle, so it's completely negated for all the efforts that Tree have been doing. Yeah,
it really feels like, I mean, right now, Predator 11-2 compared to a 7-1 Swiftblade. It feels like this shouldn't be happening. The fact that Immoboy is getting some pretty good farm here, it's almost as if Tree's playing this passive. I mean, do they just think Parasite is in that jungle and that's why they're scared here, you think?
I think it must be because they haven't seen Parasite this whole game, and obviously after their ward was counter-warded, they still have no idea. So I think they're just scared. Actually, Parasite's going to start going actually onto the Gunblade, and that's where we might see Tree getting a bit more aggressive. But bottom lane, though...
There's a little bit of back and forth here. Deadwig, Rotten Grasp, it does hit. Here comes Parasite with the Skeleton King. Leech going to be applied. Boxy realizing he's in a lot of trouble. He doesn't have the Demonic Shield, and he is going to end up falling right there in the end. Yeah, so choosing not to get even a point in that Demonic Shield at level 4... perhaps even costing him his life right there, and ultimately the bloodlust kill in the end.
No, I don't think you could really blame that on Boxy, though, to be fair, because normally you'd never spec up Demonic Shield in the laning phase. Like, you need to get Q and E max as much as possible to help you last hit and stuff, so... Yeah. I don't think that's on him. I just simply put, I don't think they realised that Parasite was in this aggressive jungle. And now they know Parasite isn't in this jungle, I think that we're going to start to see Tree getting a bit more aggressive. But at the same time, they've already kind of lost this lane already because of the amount of farm that Predator has got and the amount of levels that Empath's got as well because of this pool camp. And now you see Torturous rotating over, but I really think Tree have failed quite miserably actually against this laning phase.
Yeah, you know, it's easy for us to say, obviously, you know, being the spectator, we got that information from the beginning, but it really is curious. Usually you do see teams react to it pretty quickly, but yeah, for whatever reason, Tree just did not pick up on it, and that no doubt hurt them, and exactly, get the bloodlust kill out of it as ultimately a result of all of that. So that's a very good start here for Reason Gaming, and not only with the bloodlust kill, but look at the stat lead. I mean, we're only 4 minutes in, 1,300 gold, 2,800 experience. That's pretty ridiculous for 4 minutes into the game here.
It's because Reason are literally winning every single lane. They're winning top when they shouldn't be. Because look, Predator's got more farm than Swiftblade. Empath's getting good levels because he keeps pulling the lane. Doctor's doing very well against Kraken, and bottom lane was doing good because obviously Parasite's a gank for him. So they're literally winning every single lane, which is really, really unfortunate for Tree. And I think the main reason is because they didn't block this pool camp. The one lane they were meant to win, which was top, they didn't because they didn't block this pool camp. And it gave Empath so many levels, level 4 already, like completely out-leveling the Tree supports. Plus, Reason have a jungler as well, so not looking good.
Yeah, Reason gaming again. This is a rematch of what was the winter bracket semifinals. Reason taking that bottom lane. Torture is in a lot of trouble here, and sure enough, is going to be bursted down in the end. You see Gunblade coming over the crippling slugs, but just too late, and probably wouldn't have mattered anyway. So yeah, Deadwood and Parasite. This Parasite is causing issues, man. That's exactly what Reason Gaming was hoping for. So credit to Nier right there on his heads-up play and able to set up yet another kill. So already a 2-0 start. Torture comes back here, but I mean, Torture, it seems like he's pretty vulnerable, as we just saw right there.
Yeah.
Needs to be careful. Level 6
Deadwood's level
Deadwood.
6 as well. Like, Torture can just die in just one Willowmaker, practically. So, although Kraken is Invis down here, though, they know what's going down. They've got a ward up here to spot out Parasite and Deadwood.
Here's a chance for Tree. Now, Parasite just stuttered a little bit. I wonder if you may have picked up on that information or not, but obviously Invis Kraken sitting on top of him. 6-minute rune's going to be coming up. Parasite almost as if he's going over there, or maybe just even trying to set up a gank elsewhere, but that's not going to end up being anything. So a little unfortunate for Tree, having the Invis level 6 Kraken come to the bottom lane to try to change things. Really doesn't get anything out of it in the end, as Reason Gaming just for whatever reason started to fall back and go elsewhere. I think that just happened to be coincidence in the end. So instead he'll go back to the middle. Regen Rune is top, not picked up by anybody just yet, but he's going to be sitting up here for the time being.
So it looks like Trey have completely forfeited the suicide lane, or the off lane, which I think is probably the right choice to make. Although top lane, though.
They're going to be going on. Yes, they are. Swiftblade spinning. He should be fine. Yeah, not much they can do against that, of course. So.
Yeah, just going back to the laning situation, though, I think they have to rotate the two supports down there, because otherwise they're just going to keep feeding. Swiftblade can sort of stay up here by himself. Obviously, his farm won't be as good, but oh dear, Deadwood.
There's that level 6 Deadwood you're talking about. It basically one-shots Fusion right there, unfortunately.
They're going to try and catch him, though.
Well, they are going to chase him down. Kraken has a release the Kraken if he wants to use. Ooh, pretty poor placement right there. I mean, he was definitely guessing he's going to go for the ramp. It's understandable, but not successful. You see he's going to call out right there. He may have had a little bit of a hiccup, so perhaps causing a little bit more issues there, but this is not a pretty start for Willowkeeper. In fact, it's almost looking like the Game 1 start yesterday that they had against Dawn, or now known as Fresh here, where it was just atrocious for them, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, but this is kind of the risk you take, though. Whenever you go aggressive, unless you win it quite considerably, like by getting a couple of kills, then this is the stuff that can happen, because, you know, the mid lane is completely out of your control, so is the other lane as well, and I mean, they lost it because Parasite had some good rotations, and they didn't shut down the lane they were supposed to. Now they're quite far behind, and with this is the biggest issue actually, is that they've got Kraken, Swiftblade, and Gunblade, and all three of those need farm, yet there's only 2 lanes. Because obviously Suicide Lane is completely abandoned right now. So they're really going to have suffering in terms of how to farm. They're going to try and jungle the Swiftblade, which is probably the best move that they can make, but still, it leaves obviously top lane completely abandoned, and they're going to take a tier 1 tower top.
Predator's like, thank you very much. 386 gold per minute, middle lane. Dr. Repulsor gets the kill. No Willowmaker even needed now. He did have Veiled Ra on Deadwood to kind of set himself up in a position to begin with, of course, but obviously Kraken is simply caught off guard, and yet another hero kill. This Deadwood, he still has that Willowmaker with that said, and he might find his friend Torture here shortly. Now, Torture's going to go the other way. He's going to sit on the uphill, though. That would be embarrassing if Torture walks right into it, but it looks like he should be fine, at least for the time being. Swiftblade is farming up this stacked jungle here quite a bit now, and that should pretty hike up his GPM quite a bit, as we see already up to 270 now. But yeah, he needs to be careful. This Deadwood is just it's a suicide Deadwood that's just causing issues. Torture, run away, Torture! Oh dear God, you are dead. He's just gonna run away, let the Rotten Grasp finish him off. I feel sorry for Fusen. that's Deadwood though. That's how he works, of course. That's the idea,
and
at least.
The supports are so underleveled that they can't really offer too much outside of just feeding, as you can see there. And like Swiftblade's forced to the jungle because there's no other lane that he can go to. Kraken can't really rotate over because he's died once already. Hasn't got a portal key. And talking to him actually as well. Yeah,
middle lane again. Kraken in trouble. Another kill happening. Reason Gaming is just playing on fire right now. Gunblade comes in. At least he gets a counter kill on a Dr. Pulsar right there, using that ultimate of his, the grappling shot. As we were talking about, very effective tool against him, and does end up at least getting the first kill of the game for Tree. So finally, a little bit of sign of life there coming out from Willowkeeper. Its Gunblade is now 345 gold per minute as well, so we're going to kind of see the true power of what a Gunblade can bring to the table this game, it feels like.
Yeah, and that was actually such a good rotation from Boxy because like he was the only one that was having like decent farm out of all of Tree, so they needed him to get rotate over him and have some impact in the game, and he has done. Obviously, it might have reduced, or it might have left his lane completely down bottom, but it's something that needs to be done because otherwise his team is going to keep on feeding because they're so far behind and they don't have the farm to keep up in any of these engagements except for obviously Gunblade. So good rotation from him. I expect him to go somewhat of a normal item build in terms of just maybe Energizer, and then maybe into sort of Firebrand and see where he goes from there. It's just it's the safe build to make.
Yeah. Now, this is curious what you think about this too, and not only just worth mentioning, obviously. What am I getting at? Oh yeah, Thunderclaw picked up by Immaboy here, playing the Predator. And, you know, Predator is one of these heroes that is a candidate for something like an Alchemist Bones. Alchemist Bones did get buffed last patch too. You know, now granting that experience as well as making the effect instant rather than having that, you know, having to travel to it or whatever. But the point being, he could have gone Alch Bones. He goes to Thunderclaw though. Do you just think this made sense in the end?
It's a lot better. I mean, Alchbones would be fine as well, don't get me wrong, but I just think the Thunderclaw would offer just a little bit more. The reason being is because Alchemist Bones is good if you're doing sort of single stacks or farming sort of quite ineffectively. Actually, Torturer though, sorry.
Yeah, Rotten Grasp is going to catch him, and they're just going to have to watch him die. That's so unfortunate. Not something you could deny or anything like that, of course, so... Yeah, that was just well played. That was an envious Dr. Repulsa started that all, and again, Fusen is just food right now for this Hellborn team. He's completely under level 3 still, very few items. It's not going to be a pretty game, and it's going to continue to be that way, it feels like.
But yeah, going back to the Thunderclaw, it just gives him the ability to sort of farm stacks and clear out creepways, which is probably the biggest issue with Predator. Actually, talking of him, yeah, Riftwalker, you are dead as well.
There's Thunderclaw.
Tree just feel really... I don't know. Oh, actually, Predator.
That is going to stop him, actually. Yeah, gets it at the last second. Swift Slashes also finishes him off right there. Predator trying to use that Stonehide of his and pour it out, but Gunblade's like, no, you can't do that. Of course, being physical damage, as we saw right there, physical presence, and going through. So at least he's able to stop the TP and get the counter kill onto the diving and aggressive Predator. So, but yeah, going the Thunderclaw, and as far as a farming tool, especially for a melee hero, Argon, it probably just makes more sense.
Yeah. It's just the big weakness from Predator. Like, he doesn't have any kind of farming mechanism, but now with the Thunderclaw he does have one, and he can farm stacks and clear out creepways, for example. It's just a great item, and also he can benefit from the attack speed quite nicely as well, obviously with the Carnivorous. So
yeah,
just a synergy, nice synergy overall.
Yeah. So. Dr. Repulsor, he's level 9 right here, is doing a little bit of farm in the Legion jungle, but now going to start falling back and play a little bit aggressive, though, from time to time. You do see the Abyssal Skull just finish on Swiftblade. So, again, Swiftblade really has stepped it up, and obviously getting that kill on Predator really helped, too. But I say it's kind of interesting because it was a 3 versus 2 top with Swiftblade up there. So, again, if anything, you would have figured he'd be having a great time. Dr. Repulsor's flying around here with the Regen Rune and Empath inside. That is crazy. Regen Rune alone is pretty OP, but you throw an Empath inside of that, it's just like... Oh, dear God. I mean, thankful for the Legion team that they have not had to deal with that yet, as they were not able to find anyone in the jungle. So, that could definitely be scary here. But yeah, Swiftblade, again, all the way up to 330 gold per minute now. Very good news. And, again, Gunblade continuing to be just above him even, about 367, as you mentioned. Going to be going more the stat build earlier on. Has that Energizer to go with the Steam Boot. So... as far as the progression goes, so what were you saying? Something like, could we see something like an Assassin Shroud, do you think? Or would it be more the Geometry?
Yeah, I mean, Assassin Shroud is decent. The reason being is because it gives him the jump onto Dr. Repulsor. Like, that's why sometimes, you know, in terms of initiation, we see Portal Key instead of sort of Assassin Shroud, because Assassin Shroud, obviously, on big mid-initiates, for example, they don't benefit it, because, you know, they don't really benefit too much from, like, the late-game presence of it, but he can turn it into Conjurer in the late game as well. So, I think we will see an Assassin Shroud here. Also, it gives them ability to sort of maybe create space for other heroes on the map in terms of sort of solo pickoffs, which I think Tree are desperately needing, because Kraken's not going to pick up his Portal Key anytime soon, and so he won't be able to create any space, whereas, you know, Gunblade might be able to if he picks up the Assassin Shroud, for example.
Bottom lane, you got Nier taking over the Ballista, and going to start beating down the tower with a couple of his teammates. Kraken is nearby, and of course he has his ultimate and everything, and good to go. You see an Empath wall coming out right there to scout things out. I don't know if they saw Kraken or they're just kind of curious that something might be up. But the Legion team, I would not be surprised if we see some TPs in here. if as soon as they commit to this.
I don't think so, because I think they don't want a team fight unless they have their core items, which is the biggest one, probably the Kraken portal key. They do have obviously level 6 on Riftwalker, and I think it's the right decision just to sort of split push, maybe try and get a tier 1 trade or tier 1 tower mid as a trade. I do like what Reason have done though. They took the tier 1 tower bot, and this actually gives them access now into the Legion jungle. And as you can see, we talked about Swiftblade a little bit before, and it's because of him farming the jungle that he's gone back and he's in a decent spot now to sort of fight. He's 330 GPM because of the stacks in the jungle, but now with the tier 1 tower bot, they've sort of reduced that ability for him to farm the Legion jungle safely.
Yeah, can get the pushed up creep wave, sure, but exactly. They're going to need to get some vision over here. You see right now it's being completely controlled, really, by Reason Gaming, and that is an issue right now for Willowkeeper. So getting their jungle back is definitely a start right here as far as continuing to slow things down and make things happen. Willowmaker in the middle lane, Gunblade. He's somewhat tanky initially, but not taking it down. Wormhole initiation, though, from Riftwalker. Swift Slash is going on. Only 3 bounces, however, because of the level. We do see Parasite taking over the creep at the last second, going to get away initially. Gunblade did buy it back, by the way, so they really want to try to get any kind of pick off here if they can. Dr. Repulsor, he will be that victim in the end, and that should be the end of the fight as a result of all of that. So, I mean, that was complete initially. The Willowmaker didn't do the most damage. Again, it's not the most at level 1 especially, but the follow-up happened. And then he just, he dropped right there. But he did buy it back. They get the tower kill, and they ultimately got Dr. Repulsor. So I guess you could say, yeah, worthwhile right there.
The reason being is because although that buybacks are always bad, particularly on carry heroes, because they're a lot more useful later in the stage of the game, if they give away that kill and don't get anything in return, they're like maybe 7,000-8,000 gold behind, and that's where it's a bit of a critical mass where, is there a possibility that tree can come back? But now it's only sort of 4.8k, they're still in this game because of that buyback. So, yeah, definitely worthwhile.
Yeah. Gunblade, you see, again, buying back and coming back to the middle lane now. He's about 1,000 gold saved up, so again, get an idea in the near future. He's sitting on that fleet feed of his. It's always, I've always found that to be a weird name. It's not one we call often.
Yeah.
A fleet feed. It's just like, what does that even mean? I don't know. Anyways, bottom lane, Kraken. He's going to be in a lot of trouble. Dr. Repulsor and Deadwood. Now, we saw this yesterday with Reason Gaming. They love this combo. Yesterday, they were running it with Nymphora, but this is even without Nymphora. And obviously, when you have a portal key on Deadwood and you got Dr. Repulsor, it just works out very well still.
Yeah, definitely. And Nymphora was actually blind banned because Reason play this such aggressive strategy where they just gank completely all over the map. And it just creates so much space for Imberboy as well. Like, whenever we see Imberboy, he always has high GPM, but you have to sort of almost contribute that success to the heroes and the players like Nier, Zane and Embryo, because they're the sort of the playmakers. They create space for Imberboy to get ridiculous GPMs, and it's just a nice overall strategy. That kill on Kraken was very, very important though as well. Delays the portal key even further, and Reason, they might even try and take or try and push the tier 1 tower because Kraken still doesn't have his portal key, particularly after that gank as well.
Deadwood, he's looking around now, and Pimmet was activated by Torch, so they definitely spotted the Deadwood, but he's not going to commit any further. Going to fall back again. He still only has a level 1 Willowmaker, so as the game progresses on, that's going to scale. It's not going to be the most powerful at this point, but we'll hit level 2 here shortly and make it that much more powerful. 475 all the way up to 725 physical damage at level 3. But again, that minus 35% total strength as well, that also was buffed up from 30% as a result of the last patch. So something else that makes it just a little bit stronger, kind of one of those minor things, but at the same time still kind of a big deal in certain cases. Predator has the Insanitarius now on top of the Thunderclaw, and again, still farming very well, 425 gold per minute. Kraken, he's still working on that portal key, 1,800 gold. And so just about there, of course, but not there just yet. Top lane, they know he's here. But do they know he's here? Or are they just going up here?
No, I think he's just easy. There was obviously Invis. So.
Okay, yeah, no, I didn't know if they spotted him and that's why they're coming up here initially. But no, I guess, yeah, they're just simply going up here to try to make something happen. But Deadwood was sitting on top of them the whole time, so not being as secret as they thought they were. And Predator pushes the middle lane in the meantime. Now, this is interesting because Parasite going to be initiated on towers here as well. There comes some TPs. They're going to start falling back, but Deadwood with the Falcon Punch on a Switchblade out of nowhere, and he ends up falling. Very good patience from Deadwood right there, waiting for the right moment.
Definitely. And that just goes back to room control as well, honestly. Like, the reason they've got no, 2 bottles, no 3, yeah, 2, sorry, 2 bottles now on Reason, and I only need the 1 or 2 actually on Tree as well, but just better lane bring control altogether from Reason. And now they might even start pressuring their tier 2 tower as well, top, yeah, it's already 30%, so that's going to go down. They're going to have access to complete ancients now, as well as obviously the full jungle, because the tier 1 tower mid is down as well, and Tree, I mean, it's really not looking good for them.
Yeah, they're definitely in quite the deficit right now. But again, you got to give all the credit to Reason Game at the same time. This is a team that very, very well competed against Sync Esports. If it wasn't for a couple of mistakes, as well, you know, any team's going to make them. But they were close to defeating Sync and being in the grand finals, waiting for this match at this time today. So, but instead, of course, they're playing it because they did lose it in the end, 2-1. But yeah, if you watched that series yesterday, you would know that they played very impressive and a team that is, you know, coming out of gold once again. But showing that they definitely most certainly belong at the top-tier team. So they're trying to build this momentum riding into the end of the season. And like I said before, too, you know, what better time? So definitely deserving credit the way the style that they're playing and everything here. And taking it to Willowkeeper. So, but yeah, I definitely am a little bit impressed with Balchazar's recovery and farming out 354 gold per minute. But, you know, still would like it to be higher, I'm sure. He's, you know, their go-to carry player in general, and, you know, this is a guy that averages over 500 gold per minute per game, I believe it's safe to say, so wants to continue to increase that. In the meantime, though, Predator is near his next big item, and we'll wait and see what that ends up being, but we're at that spot. It could be a plethora of choices, perhaps.
I wonder what it's going to... It might even be Brutalizer, because it will give him ways to actually lock down the Swift Blade if he goes through the Blade Frenzies. He's got a lot of attack speed as well, because obviously the Thunderclaw, so it might actually just quite nice if he does decide to go for the Brutalizer. Obviously, Shrunken is available for him as well, because he hasn't picked up the Elder Parasite, so we'll have to wait and see, I guess. But I think Brutalizer will be decent.
Shrunken Head is one of those interesting items on him. You know, there's always that debate. It's like, oh, is it worth it? You know, he already has magic immunity. But, I mean, what's wrong with getting even more magic immunity on top of the 5.5 seconds early? So,
if you do go Shrunken Head, oh my god, he's really close to dying.
Yeah, that would be bad.
But yeah, I mean, the thing with the Stonehide though, like if you have Shrunken Head on top of that as well, like you can Stonehide then straight after Shrunken, and then the Stonehide will come back up because the cooldown is only about 15 seconds. So there's a slight uptime where you can actually use Stonehide straight after Shrunken if you use it for the first time as well. So, but he does go for the Brutalizer as expected. It gives a nice lockdown against the Swiftblade. It's just overall nice item that synergizes quite well with these items set already.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was close, man. Predator, he got very low right there, but I mean, you look at the vision of near Conqueror Pit right now. There's nothing other than the one that was just placed by Fusin, which is going to be countered immediately, as we see right here.
Yeah, Tree have just given up so much map control right now. Like, obviously, and that all goes back to how bad the laning phase went. Obviously, they lost practically all 3 lanes, and when that happens, you know, you're going to have to make concessions somewhere. And that came from just map control, and obviously a lot of the tier 1 and outer towers have been falling, and because of that, you know, there's a lot more objectives that Reason can take without much hassle from Tree.
I think it could be safe to say, you know, even something like an Abyssal Skull on Predator right here for the team, but I'm looking at the scene, I don't know if any other hero... well, I guess Empath actually is usually a pretty good candidate for that.
Yeah, she's already picked up the Ring of the Teacher, and it makes sense. Also, the thing with Predator as well, he's got quite a lot of somewhat cheap items, like Insanitarius. It's only 2,750. Thunderclaw only 2.4, and Brutalizer 3.1. Like, he doesn't have a lot of item slots, kind of thing. And so if he picks up the Abyssal Skull as well, that's a kind of a cheap item, 2,050. Like, he won't have a lot of those, you know, luxury items. So if he does keep those same items, like, he's not going to be that useful in terms of the late game. So it's probably best that Empath does pick up the Abyssal Skull.
Yeah. So next is going to be more of that, as you put a luxury item here, I'm sure, for Predator. We'll see what that option is again in the end. Still could be a Shrunken Head, could be going for something more like a Dawnbringer, or even a Behemoth Sword if it feels like tanking up, so some damage in there. So
I think he doesn't really know what to get either himself, because there hasn't been really any big team engagements. So that's one big thing, that whenever you talk to carry players, they said like you can't always dictate what you're going to get in the game before you're in the game, kind of thing. Even though you have the right draft, he couldn't have sort of said that, oh, this is the item build I'm going to go, because it does depend. Even if you have the same heroes, because someone might be sort of focusing Predator more, so he might have to go like more tanky, like the Behemoth Sword, or if he's not getting focused, he might even go for something more damage oriented in terms of maybe Rift Shards or Savage Mace. So maybe after a big engagement, he might be a little bit more enlightened on what to go.
Yeah. Oh, they're going to push this bottom tower, and not going to be any engagement here because, once again, Tree not very interested in putting in a team fight at this time. Only 3 hero kills still in this game. Again, yesterday in that game 1 against Don, they had 0 hero kills going about 23 minutes into the game, and somewhat similar with only 3 here. So it's double damage Predator time. That is scary. Look at that! Jumps on a Kraken! Kraken just melts! He missed his initiation completely, charged into the tower, and he ends up dying shortly after. He doesn't have a buyback either. So, Kraken plays a lot of Kraken. That was a misplay right there, big time, though. Switchblade, he goes down. Now we're going to see Wormhole. We are not the best, though, from Root of Z, and they are just falling apart left and right. Predator's doing way too much damage to this lead side. Another kill. We're going to see a quad kill. Are we going to get the Annihilation? It doesn't look like it. Gunblade falls back. But Reason Gaming, ultimate statement, GG, well played.
Man.
Double damage Predator, pretty damn scary.
With Empath as well. Unfortunately there wasn't too much to talk about really. Tree just lost the laning phase too hard. Bottom lane was kind of wrecked because of the rotations from Parasite, but I think it all goes back to the top lane. Tree decided, let's try and go an aggressive tri lane, but they didn't pressure Predator at all. We had literally the same farm as if no one was in the lane, and it all goes back to that one pool camp. And then when they lose the laning phase that hard, then they start losing all these concessions like towers here and there, and then the gold gap gets just bigger and bigger. And when that happens, they're going to lose one token or one Congo, and then they can't really fight 6v5, and rest is history, Breaky.
I will say this. Yesterday, once again, going back to Tree versus Don there in the losers bracket, and why Tree's here in the first place, again, they got embarrassed the first game. And, all due credit to the opposition, Don in that case, and same thing here for Reason, definitely playing it very well. But, Tree did look very different in that